Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Friday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini, and man, still on a heater is Pittsburgh sports right now. You've got the Bucks; they are off to a hot start this season. You got the Steelers with the draft in their own city right around the corner, and you, of course, have the team I'm repping on the chest here today, the Pittsburgh Penguins, ladies and gentlemen. And we are going to start with them to begin the show here in a moment because your Penguins, they are off to the Stanley Cup playoffs after a 3-year absence. It has been 3 years too long, and this team, did it need those 3 years? Yes, but did we miss the, annual right every summer of being able to throw on a pair of shorts and just wear your jersey over top and enjoy the warm weather while also enjoying the Penguins on the ice? Yeah, we definitely missed it. There is lots to get into with the Pens. They clinch a playoff berth last night. They also clinching home ice advantage, at least in the first round, so they will lock up the number 2 seed in the Metropolitan Division and, quite honestly, complete one of the most unexpected stories of success in, quite frankly, the history of Pittsburgh professional sports, not just Penguins history. So we'll talk about the Pens to begin the show here in a moment. Tons and tons of excitement around them as people starting to believe that this team, maybe a little bit of 2016 vibes, does have at least one last playoff run left in them for the core of Crosby, Malkin, Letang, Carlson, and all them. So we'll talk about the Pens here in a moment. We'll also talk about, like I said, the Steelers. We are now under 2 weeks away from the NFL draft in Pittsburgh, the North Shore, right down there by Acrisure Stadium and the surrounding area. It is continuing to day by day be transformed into a space that can host nearly 500,000 people, maybe even more, at least for that first night of the draft. The Steelers, they continue hot and heavy. Top 30 visits. They are getting guys out of there and getting guys in almost interchangeably at this point. Since we last spoke back on Wednesday, 48 hours later, 6 new visitors for the Steelers were in the building, 2 of which, or more, maybe 3 of which, I don't know, could be first-round options for the Steelers. So that is very exciting. We'll talk about those options. One of them just so happens to be one of my favorite players in this entire draft class for the black and gold. And then we'll wrap up talking about the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, our talk around the Bucks today was going to be centered around their new jerseys that look sick that they just revealed yesterday. But then they kicked off a new series today with a very hated division rival in the Chicago Cubs in Wrigley, 2, beginning game 1 of a 3-game set. The Bucks did not look good in one area, but thankfully the other components of the team really stepped up today. We'll talk about how that game went before we get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news and wrap up the show with your comments throughout the show here this evening. Before we officially get things on the road here, if you are new to the Steel City Sports Report, welcome. Come on in, make yourself at home. Please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing here on the Steel City Sports Report. Again, whether it be a video, whether that's SCSR 60 or an SCSR uncut, whether it's a live stream, it could be a regular every couple weekdays news live stream, just like the one you are currently watching. It could be a breaking news live stream, or it could be a live stream of reacting and covering live an event. And there's going to be a bunch of those, believe me, here on the Steel City Sports Report in the near future, with both the NFL draft coming up in less than 2 weeks and Stanley Cup playoffs now on the horizon for your Pittsburgh Penguins. Have no idea how I'm going to finagle the schedule to cover all of that, but we will make it work and cross that bridge when we get closer to it. Also, if you're new here, please like this live stream right now, share this live stream, and in the comment section, if you have any thoughts, questions, or opinions, please get those in the comment section. I can pop those comments up on screen like this at a moment's notice, and we can interact that way. Go give the channel a follow at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and tune back in a little bit later on tonight for one of those new editions of SCSR 60. With that, let's get into the weekend here, ladies and gentlemen, on this Friday evening and not waste any sort of time. The Pittsburgh Penguins, hallelujah, going back to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time in 3 years. The last time that the Pens were in the Stanley Cup playoffs going back to 2022. I believe that was the year when in the first round they went 7 games against the New York Rangers, and it was Artemi Panarin for the Rags that ended up scoring the Game 7 overtime winner. But the Pens entered into last night's game. They had a few ways that they could get into the postseason here. They, of course, a straight-up win over the Devils in any sort of fashion was going to get them into the postseason. There was also a circumstance where if they just got a point last night against the Devils, plus had a Buffalo Sabres defeat of the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Pens would have got in. Or if the Toronto Maple Leafs defeated the Islanders in any fashion and the Sabres defeated the Blue Jackets in regulation, the Pens would get in. But the easiest road in was win and in New Jersey last night. The Penguins looking to lock up a postseason berth. They went into the game. No Connor Dewar. He is day-to-day with a lower body injury. So one of those key fourth liners for the Pens was out of the lineup last night. Back in the lineup, though, glad to see that he is okay. Stuart Skinner took that nasty puck to the eye when he was sitting on the bench a couple days ago. His eye was all puffed up. It was good. Not, 100% yet, but he was good enough to play. On to the game itself last night. To say that the Pens had a slow start is an understatement. They looked like a team that did not play since Sunday. They had multiple turnovers. They were hemmed in their own zone a bunch. They had, I think, at least 3 odd man breaks against them in that first period. It was all Devils for the most part, but the Penguins, something that they've done a good bit of this season, they weather the early storm and they end up getting the game's first tally. Chris Letang, nice pass to Igor Chinakhov, had a clear as day shooting lane on goal, instead made a nifty but risky, and it worked, pass to Brian Rust. Rust able to one time at home to make it 1-0 Penguins after 20 minutes of play. Into the second period, Paul Cotter for the Devils, he had a breakaway. Penn still had turnover issues. He made it 1-1. The Penguins at that point could have been down 5-1 had it not been for Stuart Skinner, but they will just take the 1-1 tie at that point. Again, able to respond from adversity was the Penguins. 9 seconds apart. You had Evgeny Malkin chip the puck to Tommy Novak. He goes upstairs on Jake Allen for 1 goal, and then right off the faceoff out at center ice pretty much 9 seconds later, Igor Chinakhov somehow finds his way behind the Devils' defense, goes in and doesn't have all that hard of a shot, but it gets past Jake Allen to make it 3-1 in the blink of an eye. And on that Igor Chinakhov goal, we're going to talk about this man a bunch here in a minute. Sidney Crosby recorded his 100th point against the New Jersey Devils. That now makes 4 teams in Crosby's career alone that he has recorded 100 points again. Most NHL players, about 95% of NHL players, if we're being honest here, they would love to just have 400 career points throughout the entirety of their playing career. Crosby, he has 100 points against 4 different teams alone. The Flyers, of course, Crosby has a stake in ownership in the Flyers. He owns them so bad. The New York Rangers, who Sid has met up a bunch against in his career. The Islanders, another team Crosby owns. And now the Devils on top of it. Crosby, one of just 13 players in NHL history and the only active player in hockey right now with 100-plus points against 4 or more franchises. Congratulations, Sid. He just continues to just effortlessly make history on a nightly basis. That made it 3-1 Pens. The Devils did get one back on the back end of the second period. Jack Hughes, American hero, ended up bringing the Devils back within a goal deficit. But the Pens, they went into anaconda mode, just vice gripped the Devils for the rest of the game. First half of the game, Penguins team was completely and totally different from the second half of that game, Penguins team. The Pens, almost at will, were controlling play in the third period. They did add some needed insurance. You had a play where I think it might have been Ryan Shea sent it down the boards in the offensive zone. Igor Chinakhov pinned up against the boards by a Devils defenseman without his stick. He uses his skate to kick the puck out in front to Sidney Crosby. Crosby tries to dangle his way around Jake Allen, could not get a clean enough shot away. Evgeny Malkin, fresh off the bench, goes right to the blue paint, pokes home the puck to make it 4-2. That right there was the ticket punching goal. You still had a chance, the way that the game was going and the way that it felt through the first half, that the Devils would have been able to get back into that hockey game last night. But you just sometimes have that sense as a sports fan where you can pinpoint a moment in the game and say, hey, they are not going to lose this game now. That was that Evgeny Malkin goal. He and Crosby, the two-headed monster, which has carried this franchise for over 2 decades now. They end up tag teaming, on the lead extending goal. Erik Karlsson for the Penguins, when the Devils pulled their goaltender with about 3 minutes to go from his own end of the ice, shoots it down to make it 5-2, and that wound up being the final score. The Penguins take down the Devils 5-2, and they punch their ticket into the postseason. And they, as you see right there on your screen, flip the script from a team that nobody gave a chance of making the playoffs to begin the year. You had some sports betting sites that had the Penguins at a 7% chance, barely over 7% chance to make the playoffs to begin the year. Now you go back to that same chart that everybody's taken a look at by now. It says 100% right beside that Penguins logo. And going to be totally honest, here on this channel, we will watch along. Not sure if I'm going to say all, but most of these playoff games for the Penguins. It is going to be something that I will truly relish in right now. All my life, all I've known was Crosby, Malkin, and the Penguins going to the playoffs every year. 3 years off gives you a different perspective, makes you realize how much you took it for granted. And I didn't honestly know if the Penguins were and Crosby were going to get back to this moment again, get back to the playoffs again, because they were still in a rebuild mode. They still had, tons of draft picks, tons of prospects. The roster on paper to begin the season did not look like any sort of juggernaut. So this right now, I can safely say, truly is the most unexpected success in the history of Pittsburgh sports. And it is unbelievable right now. Want to start, of course, it just go, individual by individual here and give some kudos. Starts with the captain, 87, Sidney Crosby. Like I said, had no idea if Crosby, with the Penguins at least, was going to make it back to this point again. You just came out of last summer, going back roughly a year. You had Crosby's agent saying, the NHL playoffs need Sidney Crosby, whether that's here in Pittsburgh or somewhere else. You had all the insiders, most of them propagandaists from the Canadian media, saying, get Crosby out of Pittsburgh, get him traded to Colorado with his buddy Nate McKinnon, get him traded to his hometown team, the Montreal Canadiens, anywhere but Pittsburgh. Kyle Dubas doesn't know what he's doing there. Crosby's going to rot away for the rest of his career in Pittsburgh. You actually have Elliot Friedman, one of those insiders that was pushing this pro-Crosby trade narrative down everybody's throat today. Today, Friedman put out there this whole thing about Crosby getting traded, whether it was ever going to happen. The whole theory was the NHL needs Crosby in the playoffs. People trying to convince him were saying that, he's going to be playing playoff hockey. Sounds to me like a bunch of BS there from Elliot Friedman, him trying to walk back his hardcore feelings from the past. Well, guess what, Friedman? Guess what, all of you Canadian media hockey propagandists that, come out of Edmonton and Montreal and Toronto and all that, you only motivated Sidney Crosby to get this team back to the playoffs. Not necessarily all the time on the ice, but lead this team with a new coaching staff, a whole bunch of new players. It's truly remarkable how much leadership Crosby showed this year. And if you go back, actually, ladies and gentlemen, you can stay on this channel right now to confirm this for yourself and see for yourself. 1 year ago, yesterday, was the Pat McAfee show, Big Night At. Me, my father, we were present at that when Paul Skeens, Ben Roethlisberger, and the core three, Crosby, Malkin, Letang, all came out to end the show. Crosby, right there in the middle of PPG Paints Arena, said that he wishes the Penguins would be getting ready for playoff hockey in Pittsburgh. Fast forward 365 days later, last night, the Penguins punched their ticket back to the postseason, and there will be hockey games, playoff hockey games, played in Pittsburgh again. So that is truly remarkable from Sid, willing that into existence and just leading like the professional and consummate leader he is. There is no better leader, maybe in the history of professional sports, than better than Sidney Crosby. That is now the 17th time, ladies and gentlemen, that the Penguins will be going to the playoffs in the 20 seasons with Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin playing together. They also, last night, Crosby and Malkin became the first set of teammates to record 60-plus point seasons at age 38 or older, and that was the 12th time that both of them each did that. That is more than Wayne Gretzky and Yuri Kari. That is more than, I believe I saw last night, Bobby Hall and Stan Mikita. So truly legendary stuff. Crosby and Malkin still are doing, even though they are getting older and older in age. Malkin, last night, he also recorded the third highest points per game average in a single NHL season at 1.11 at age 39 or older. Only older players who averaged more points per game above Malkin were Gordie Howe and Alex Ovechkin. So Crosby, Malkin leading the way once again for this Penguins team. Chris Letang, he is there as well. Letang having a down season. I think we all can agree that, but I will give him some props here. Crosby, Malkin, Letang, they all have had, their blemishes this season, especially Letang, but I'll be damned if those three men aren't, again, starting to hit their stride right at the right moment as we are approaching playoffs. 3 games left in the regular season here. So I just want one more playoff run here for this core 3, and that will make me someday die a happy Penguins fan. That's for sure. There's some other guys that deserve tons and tons of praise as well here. Brian Rust, maybe, again, the most underappreciated, not underappreciated, I don't want to say that. Maybe the most unsung hero in Penguins history in terms of a dude that just goes out there and plays his ass off every night and but still isn't, put in the tier of Crosby and Malkin and such. Rust last night after the game feels a little bit better given the outside expectations all year, giving everyone a big middle finger. Feels good. Love that from Rusty. Rust, by the way, today announced as the Penguins Penguins representative the Penguins nominee, for the King Clancy Memorial Trophy. The trophy honors and recognizes the player who best exemplifies leadership qualities on and off the ice and has made noteworthy humanitarian contributions in his community. Of course, Rusty does that in spades. His biggest things, his biggest thing that he does, the Friends Stutter Friends Who Stutter Foundation, because Rust dealt with a stutter himself growing up. So that is very awesome there for Brian Rust to get that nomination. Erik Karlsson, have no idea how I did not go this long without mentioning EK65. Records another point or two last night. Shows all season long. Prime 3-time Norris Trophy Ottawa Senators version of Erik Karlsson. He might be the one that puts the Penguins on their back, not just in the regular season, but in the postseason as well. He is waiting for his first opportunity to hoist Lord Stanley's Cup, and he is going to be motivated, not sure how many more kicks at the can he's going to have to get to that hollowed land and get into the Stanley Cup Ring of Honor here. So that's awesome there for Karlsson. I fully expect him to keep going. You got Rickard Rakell, too, another veteran who really, especially the last few months, has put the team on his back when guys like Crosby and Malkin have gone down with injury this year. Rakell's been the forward that has stepped up the most. Very awesome stuff there. Those veterans, very much happy to see them get another shot to make a run at the playoffs here, as this team that was so close to getting blown up, more or less. You know, if the Penguins had a year to begin the season like what all we thought they were going to be, who's to say that Rickard Rakell or Brian Rust or even Erik Karlsson are Penguins right now? And now this leadership group, they are helping to take the Penguins back to the postseason. And now onto the new guys. And how can you not start talking about the new guys than the man calling the shots himself, the men who got the veterans to buy in, the man that got the newcomers all to gel together seamlessly, the man that got these young guys that the Penguins have acquired over the past couple of months to find a new elevation to their game. Dan Muse, of course, who I'm talking about here, the Pens head coach, deserves a lot, and I mean a lot, of credit for this Pittsburgh Penguins team. First-year coach, became the 6th coach in Penguins history to reach 40 or more wins in his first season with the team. And you look at the various categories here: wins, points percentage, regulation wins, goals per game, goals against per game, goal differential. Each and every single one of those areas massively improved from last year under Mike Sullivan. So you got to give Dan Muse a ton of credit to get to coach this team and to have them get to this point. It has been a dream come true, to say the least, for going from nobody really knew when the Penguins hired him to now I won't say he is yet, but he definitely should be the Jack Adams Award winner for Coach of the Year. I know you got Lindy Ruff in Buffalo there, a nice little story, and John Cooper down in Tampa, but for a team that had so minuscule expectations like the Penguins, for Dan Muse to will that team into the playoffs most of the season, or at least parts of the season, not having Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin in the lineup, dealing with injuries down the stretch when they've fallen into pits of struggle. They've been able to climb themselves back out. Dan Muse, definitely one hell of a job. And on to those newcomers that we were talking about besides Dan Muse, the Penguins. They are by far the team getting the most out of their new additions. In terms of goals, Penguins players who are new to the team this year, 99 goals from those new players. Your Anthony Mantha, Igor Chinikov, Justin Brazos of the world. 99 goals from that group of players. The next closest team, Anaheim Ducks, with 79. A literal runaway for first place in goals by new additions. That is awesome there for Penguins, and this goes to both Dan Muse and Kyle Dubas, Penguins general manager. You look at those new guys, some of those new guys at least, Brazeau, Mantha, Chinikov, Parker Wotherspoon, Elmer Soderblom, Ilya Solovyov, some guys who have been here before, St. Ivany, Achari, Rust, Ryan Shea, Connor Dewar. Every single player I just named there set a new career high this season in some way, shape, or form. Brazeau, career highs in goals, assists, and points. Mantha, same thing. Dewar, same thing. Chinikov, Shea, Wotherspoon, all of those players, new career highs in goals, assists, and points. Brian Rust, a new career high in assists and points with 65. Noel Acciari, new career high in assists. Elmer Soderblom, new career highs in goals and points. St. Ivany, new career highs in assists and points. Solovyov, points, assists, and goals. Every single person that has come here to Pittsburgh has had literally their best season of their career. Every single player that Kyle Dubas has brought in, every single player that Dan Muse just tinkered with a little bit to help them reach their full potential. It's truly amazing that the Pens were able to do this. And also, still, after last night, and I think the Penguins, if we're being honest here, can maybe get shut out the last 3 games of the season, and I don't think this would matter. 282 goals in total this season for the Penguins, lighting the lamp at an unbelievable pace. It might be, I think it will be the highest scoring Penguins team in the Sidney Crosby era on a goals per game basis. Unbelievable. Massive shout out to Kyle Dubas for finding these players. Massive shout out to Dan Muse for pushing all the right buttons, making sure all the screws are tightened up on these players, and to the players themselves, from veterans who have been here a while. They've been through the struggles of the past 3 years, and they were wondering themselves if they were ever going to get a shot at the playoffs again, to the, restoration projects, your Stuart Skinners, Igor Chinikovs, Elmer Soderbloms, to, the guys that are looking to, bounce back in their careers, turn their careers around. Anthony Mantha, Justin Brazeau, those types. Everybody buying in to reach this point. And now that they're in there, all you need is a little bit of luck, a whole lot of faith and belief and fight in yourselves. And who's to say, who's to judge, who is to limit how far the Penguins are going to go in the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm done with my ranting and raving. Just unbelievably emotional high right now surrounding the Pittsburgh Penguins, off to the Stanley Cup playoffs for the first time since 2022 with home ice advantage. I wanted to mention that one more time. With home ice advantage, the Philadelphia Flyers last night still the odds-on favorite to play the Penguins in round 1, so he could get a Keystone State rivalry right off the bat with the Pens getting home ice advantage. Though the Flyers last night did leave the door open for an Islanders or Columbus Blue Jackets team to sneak back in and overtake them here with less than a week to go in the regular season. The Flyers, they lose big last night to the Detroit Red Wings. The Red Wings keep their wild card hopes alive, and now you got Columbus and the Islanders. The Islanders won last night. They could be in a dogfight there with the Flyers to get into that final Metropolitan Division spot. But I'll wrap up the talking about the Penguins there. Just unbelievable how this team went from being called DOA to start the season. Oh, your biggest acquisition of the offseason is what? Anthony Mantha? Dude goes out and scores 31 points. Oh, you got Tristan Jarry in that. He's not going to do anything. Kyle Dubas works his boy wonder magic. Trades off Jarry to Edmonton. That's working real well for the Oilers. Brings back Stu Skinner, a goaltender who took the Oilers to 2 Stanley Cup finals in back-to-back years. Now Stu looking to do it a third time, and maybe he has a little bit more confidence and less stress than what he was getting up there in Edmonton. You guys got no depth. Who's your third line center? Oh, just a 11th overall pick, 18-year-old named Ben Kindle that nobody expected to be in the NHL this year, let alone be one of the Pens' best centermen. It's just unreal right now, this Pens. I can go, again, player by player and say a nice thing and a way that player has contributed to the Pens reaching this point in the season. It's truly remarkable for the Pens, and excited to have playoff hockey back in the city of Pittsburgh, and hope you guys join me along for the ride here this Stanley Cup playoffs. Will probably be live for at least a game or two. I won't give a hard schedule yet on what the playoff live stream schedule will be, because the NFL draft is in the middle of the NHL playoffs as well, but we'll figure it out. Pens back to the postseason for the first time in 3 years. I'm fired up. What say all of you? To the comments section here. Flacco, great year for us. Great year indeed. An unexpectedly great year. You probably in your lifetime, in my lifetime, will not see a more Cinderella story Penguins team, to be honest. And it's crazy saying that when the team has, still two top 25, in Crosby's case, top 5 players in NHL history on roster with Crosby and Malkin. But, it is what it is. Team that had no expectations, except for one. They had one expectation. That was to be in the draft lottery for Gavin McKenna out of Penn State. And now they go from McKenna to, hopefully here soon enough, playing meaningful hockey through the end of April into the month of May, meaning they have a really deep playoff run in them. 11 of you in here right now. Welcome to the Steel City Sports Report. On your way in, please hit that like and subscribe button. Going to switch gears here. We're going to go over to football, ladies and gentlemen. And there's another comment from Flocka right here. I remember we were waiting for Aaron Rodgers to announce playing for us during the Pat show last year. Yeah, that definitely was the case. A small reason. Of course, I love, the Pat McAfee show, and I knew he was going to be pulling some strings to bring out a whole bunch of celebrities, both sports and otherwise. So that was about 90% of the reason why I wanted to go to the Pat McAfee Big Night Out show last year. And then there was that small glimmer of hope that, he's going to bring out Aaron Rodgers at the end, and Rodgers is going to announce that he's signing in Pittsburgh. Thought that was going to happen. It ultimately didn't end up signing, a few months later. But now we're back in the same spot, honestly, Flacco, here in April, waiting for Aaron Rodgers to make a decision. Hopefully that decision is coming soon. Clock is ticking, because you just had the NFL meetings in Arizona, last week, and Steelers owner Art Rooney II said he expects an answer from Aaron Rodgers by the draft. Well, time's a ticking. We're now T-minus 13 days away from that NFL draft. And speaking of, that is our main talking point around the Steelers here today, ladies and gentlemen, the 2026 NFL draft in the city of Pittsburgh. Actually, this was pretty cool to see last night. The NFL announcing the players that will be attending the draft in person. They'll be in Pittsburgh, walking across that stage when they hear their names get uttered come Thursday, the 23rd. The list of players that will be going, of course, we know one quarterback. It's not Fernando Mendoza. He is staying with family. The quarterback, the lone quarterback that is going, that is Ty Simpson out of Alabama. We'll see if he ends up making it into the first round. Running back, just one of those. You had Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame. A couple offensive linemen. You had Caden Proctor, the big left tackle from Alabama, and I think also here, right here, Francis Maui-Noah, the right tackle from the Miami Hurricanes. On defense, got a couple of players. David Bailey, Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, some linebackers right there, defensive ends, Ruben Bain, Keldrick Falk. You got also, I think that's just those two actually. Now I'm looking here. They got all the names out of order here. I'm trying to go by position. And then some DBs, Mansour Delane from LSU, Caleb Downs from Ohio State, Colton Hood from Tennessee. And then 1, 2, 3 wide receivers will be in Pittsburgh for the draft here in little under 2 weeks' time. Carnell Tate, of course, I think the consensus wide receiver 1 in the class. Jordan Tyson, who is, in most people's cases, a top 3 wide receiver in the draft class. And then the man you see on your screen right there, USC wide receiver Makai Lemon. And boy, is he going to be, maybe, I got to be careful with my words here because I want it to happen so damn bad. Makai Lemon, think he's going to be a damn good wide receiver in the NFL. Hopefully, he exchanges that red and gold for some black and gold, because Makai Lemon yesterday, one of 3 players that was in Pittsburgh on the south side at the Steelers facility for a pre-draft visit. Of course, Lemon, everybody knows who Makai Lemon is at this point. Dude getting comps left and right. There's one player that Makai Lemon is constantly compared to. Fittingly enough, he comes from the same school. Amon-Ra St. Brown, being talked about as the next Amon-Ra St. Brown. Blitnikoff Award winner last year, was a first-team All-Big Ten player, a first-team AP All-American, plays outside, plays in the slot, had over 1,100 receiving yards, 11 touchdowns, extremely productive wide receiver, not afraid to be physical, ridiculous route running savviness, an SOB to bring down after the catch. Just damn near a perfect wide receiver. And now this is the second time he gets to talk with the Steelers. Had a formal meeting with the Steelers at the NFL Combine. Now a top 30 visit. Will he make it outside of the top, 12 to 14 picks come draft night? I don't know. I would doubt it. But the fact that the Steelers are just bringing him in tells you they still are locked in on a wide receiver in the first round. And in Lemon's case, could even make a trade up. So very excited that Makai Lemon was in Pittsburgh for a pre-draft visit yesterday. Some other guys that were in Pittsburgh over the past 48 hours for pre-draft visits. Safety out of Toledo, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. The Steelers, do I want them to go safety with their first-round pick at, a not all that premium position? No. But also, McNeil-Warren, he is a dog. I know he plays in the MAC. Steelers historically have gone to the MAC to get some dog players. But McNeil-Warren, he is a damn good safety. Just not sure at 21 if he would be my guy there. Michigan tight end Marlon Klein, excuse me, he was also in the Steelers facility yesterday for a visit. Maybe you're looking at a day 3 pick for him right there. Could be the Steelers' third tight end behind Darnell Washington and Pat Freiermuth. He actually, interestingly enough, has been said about him, his college career, not going to be the type of player in the NFL that he was in college. He is built for the NFL, and numbers in college did not necessarily reflect that. Today, though, the Steelers had 3 more visits. I believe that now. I think the Steelers have had at least 2 or 3 pre-draft visitors per day this entire week. They entered the week with, I think, 16 of their 30 visits used up. Now they're all the way up around 26, 27, if I am not mistaken. The players they had in the facility today, Memphis, offensive tackle, Travis Burke. We have heard about him before. this has been long scheduled, a top 30 visit with the Steelers. 6'9", well over 310 pounds is Burke. He's going to be a big left tackle project, maybe a little bit of of competition for Broderick Jones, who looks like at least, through a couple of videos, he'll be all right to start the season. LSU linebacker Harold Perkins, a pretty freak, athletic linebacker in his own right. Plays all over the defense. He is a Swiss Army knife out there and doesn't have, God-given physical gifts. But if you can find him a niche role on this defense and he can be a contributor on special teams, he will be a good add here for the Steelers. And then the last guy here, possible second round selection here for the Steelers, Malik Muhammad, corner from Texas. I believe Muhammad, he used to be in round one conversations going back, a year ago when, you were getting your early projections for the 2026 draft right after the 2025 draft ended. Muhammad, though, still pretty damn good corner. Top 5 in the class at his position. Instinctive, plays strong, gets a great vision for the ball. Only allowed a 57.8 passer rating against last season. And he can play inside or outside. The Steelers really, I think, going for versatile players in this draft class. Mike McCarthy said so himself. He said back at, I'm not sure if it was the Combine or if it was the meetings in Arizona, but we do remember Mike McCarthy putting out there that he wants everybody that doesn't play quarterback or isn't a kicker on the team to be able to play multiple positions. And you go through these top 30 visits, you can make an argument that everybody they have brought in so far can do that. Muhammad can play inside or outside. Perkins, jack of all trades as a linebacker. Travis Burke, I'm sure you can find some sort of a guard or tackle versatility with him. Mekhi Lemon plays inside, outside, not necessarily limited to the slot, but he is damn good there. Marlon Klein, tight end, safety, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, he can play multiple safety spots there. So the Steelers really looking to make a splashy pick, a dude that is going to go out there and handle and carry his own weight wherever they align them. So that's the latest on the top 30 visits for the Steelers. The list keeps growing every single day. Their new list of players here that they have had top 30 visits. Wide receivers, Mekhi Lemon, Denzel Boston, Jeremy Bernard, Zachariah Branch. I did not have Zachariah Branch in for a 30 visit. Lemon, Boston, Bernard, Skylar Bell was just in earlier this week for a top 30 visit. Kendrick Law, same thing for him. Jeff Caldwell, another. Some DBs, Chris Johnson, a corner. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Maybe you put Kyle Lewis in that category, even though he's listed as a linebacker. Not sure how they're going to use him. Ephesians, Prysock, Dakario Davis, 2 long corners from Washington. Malik Muhammad from Texas today. Jacoby Thomas earlier this week. Those are some DBs for top 30 visits. And then there's a couple of other loose positions sprinkled in there. Jacob Rodriguez at linebacker. Got a couple offensive linemen. Keelan Rutledge for a guard. Markel Bell, Travis Burke, 3 quarterbacks, all day 2, late day 2, day 3 projects. Carson Beck, Cole Payton, Taylor Green. Draft is looking very promising right now, assuming that the Steelers, stick with what they're showing all of us with these top 30 visits. They're looking to go splashy pick in the first round, which quite honestly they need. A Lemon, Boston, something like that. And then very good, at least from the homework I've done on them, value players for the rest of the draft. So we'll keep an eye here on the Steelers and see what their final top 30 visit list looks like here in the next week or so. It's got to be coming to an end soon, these top 30 visits, because you'd like to have everybody or know everything about everybody a week out from the draft so you can get your draft board finalized. Just some other loose notes, not necessarily related to the Steelers, surrounding the draft coming up here in 2 weeks. Omar Cooper Jr., another wide receiver that is flying up draft boards, and Steelers fans are really starting to swoon over. He is visiting the Commanders today. He's got 4 more visits scheduled. You'd like to think that the Steelers doing all their homework on this wide receiver class will be one of them, especially Cooper, maybe the best pure slot wide receiver in this class. He's combating with Lemon for that spot. Would love for the Steelers to bring him in. Jordan Tyson, wide receiver from Arizona State. He will, coming up here on April 17th, that is 6 days before the draft, he will be holding his own individual workout for NFL teams to come and watch. We'll see if the Steelers send any people to that pro day. Tyson has been mocked to the Steelers a bunch. He was coached in college by his position coach, former Steeler Hines Ward. But Tyson getting some interest from the Baltimore Ravens and Philadelphia Eagles, of all teams. So he could either be going to the Steelers' arch nemesis or to the other side of the Commonwealth. Wide receiver onto the Cleveland Browns here. That is definitely in play for the Browns. I think the Browns are trying to send out a bit of a smoke screen. We'll see if it, winds up being that come 2 weeks' time. Today, the Browns had Caden Proctor, the big offensive tackle from Alabama. He was in Cleveland today for a pre-draft visit, and it was reported by some insiders that Cleveland could be looking at Proctor with the 6th overall pick. Now, I'm not buying it. I am not buying it whatsoever, because the Browns have had pretty much every single wide receiver under the sun in for a pre-draft visit, and now they're trying to throw in a first-round tackle here. Yeah, we'll see if that works out for the Browns. They got 2 first-round picks, so I'm not going to rule out that they could get a tackle and a wide receiver, but I'll believe that their first pick is anything but a wide receiver, most likely a Carnell Tate when I see it. Just looking here, some other things that are of, effect to the Steelers. Kenyon Sadiq, tight end from Oregon. I think Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, who covers the Steelers, is really tied in with Art Rooney. He has said that if Kenyon Sadiq is sitting there at 21, the Steelers might take him, even though they've got 2 tight ends already. He is just that much of a freak athlete. Well, Sadiq might not make it anywhere close to 21, because the Baltimore Ravens, they are connected to him. A couple other things here. Looks like secondary is going to be the way that the Bengals go in round 1. The Bengals had 2 intriguing prospects in their building today. Reuben Bain Jr., edge rusher from Miami, going to be in Pittsburgh for the draft. Jacob Rodriguez, who we just took for the Steelers in a mock draft back on Monday. Rodriguez is getting compared to the defensive rookie of the year last year for Cleveland, Carson Schlesinger. So look out for Rodriguez to the Bungles. I would hate that 100%. But still, from Jordan Reed of NFL draft coverage and college football analyst on ESPN, it sounds like the Bengals going to go secondary with their first pick. That could be a Mansour Delane corner. It could be a safety like Caleb Downs, a couple other corners, Jermod McCoy, Colton Hood, something like that. So keep an eye on these players and these teams. I'm going to try to get them all put together and get as much of a completed assessment on this draft class before draft night. All right. Now through hockey talk and done with football talk as well. We got one more segment to get through. That is some baseball chatter here this evening. We'll get through that quickly here in a moment. Flacco in here. I knew you'd be fired up. Let's go, Lemon. See, I've been teeter-tottering. I'm not going to lie. I know it'd be good and, it get some reaction, engagement if I just, had one opinion and stuck with it. But got to be honest, I am really waffling right now because the first two guys in this comment here, yeah, I love all three of these guys. Lemon and Vega Yoani. It's really hard right now for me to pick which guy I would want the Steelers to take over the other. Let's just say hypothetically the Steelers do a trade up, hop right in front of the Ravens at like pick 12 or 13. You've got Yoani, you've got Lemon sitting there on the board. It's like you got two of your most favorite people in the world dangling off a cliff. You can pull one up, but the other's going to fall. Which one do you take? Do you go splash or do you go protection? I don't know. I'm hoping that I figure that out come draft night here, because or at least the night before draft night, because we got a couple more mock drafts to do here on the channel. 2 more mock draft Mondays plus Wednesday right before the draft. The night before, we will do on the channel here a full first round mock draft, making a pick for every single team. So it's going to be tough. I'm glad I'm not the one, making the decision, calling the shots here. Hoping Omar Khan and the scouting staff and all that, they know what they're doing. Tate, Lemon, and Love all want to be Steelers bad. Yeah, they do. I've actually, I think, made a note of that. Lemon here said playing with Aaron Rodgers would be cool. Called him the legend. Called him the GOAT and a legend. Tyson, of course, he's got that Steeler connection, sort of step connection through Hines Ward. Learned a bunch from the former Steeler wide receiver. And then Jeremiah Love grew up being a Steeler fan. So we definitely do got some Steeler love. And one of those three, or all three of those guys, they're going to be walking across that stage in Pittsburgh. And aside from them, getting taken by the Ravens or Bengals or Browns, an AFC North rival of the Steelers, I would expect them to, get a little bit of a cheer and be hyped up to walk across that stage come 2 Thursdays from now. But yeah, definitely some Pittsburgh connections right there. Lemon Vega, Jacob Rodriguez. Walk with me here. I know, the Steelers got 12 picks. I'm not sure how much they want to, get rid of, and if they want to mortgage anything from next year's draft in a trade to move up this year. Could you imagine if Steelers get a Lemon or someone like that, and then a Vega Yoani falls mysteriously for some reason, and the Steelers are able to hop back into the back end of the first round and take him, and then the player or the other teams in the league just so happen to be asleep at the wheel and pass on Jacob Rodriguez. I would love for those three in a perfect world to be Steelers, but I mean, you're talking about a 1 in a million shot of that happening. Really don't want Lemon to be F the Ravens. Yeah, I don't either. They'd be kind of, dumb to do that. They've already got a small, wide receiver room, a dude who bounces inside the slot, outside the slot, and Zay Flowers. You'd just be getting another Zay Flowers there. They'd be much better, the Ravens, taking a shot on a Jordan Tyson or even a Denzel Boston over Mekhi Lemon, just to get a different body type other than Zay Flowers. And I think, honestly, you want to talk about a match made in heaven, Kenyon Sadiq, I think he will be a Raven here, because the Ravens, out of all the many players they just watched walk in free agency, they lost their top 2 tight ends behind Mark Andrews. And we all know Mark Andrews ain't no spring chicken anymore. So You got Andrews, who is old as hell and is injury prone throughout his career, and then nobody. I think Sadiq is going to, get drafted by the Ravens to be that heir to the throne and maybe even be what they thought Isaiah Likely was going to be before he left town as the heir to the Andrews throne and possibly taking it over as TE1 by the end of next season. 5 of you still hanging around here on this Friday evening. Going to keep things rolling here. We got one more segment, followed by extra Pittsburgh sports news, and then it is off into the weekend here for the Steel City Sports Report. Want to real quick, actually, one more comment here from Flacco. Flacco right here. I like Sadiq a lot, but really feel like he's going to be a Raven or a Chief. Yeah, one of those two. I mean, really, I guess I would throw in there, though it'd be kind of crazy for them with all the stuff they got rid of this offseason to take a tight end. I feel like the Dolphins are a sneaky pick for Sadiq. Feels like he could be a nice little safety option for Malik Willis because God knows they got nobody down there to catch the ball from him anymore after shipping off Jalen Waddle. Back to the sports here. Like I said, one more segment, moving from hockey to football, and now finally into baseball, ladies and gentlemen. The Pittsburgh Pirates today kicking off a 3-game weekend series with the Chicago Cubs in Wrigleyville, a house of horrors for the Bucks for the last few years, and going up against the pitcher too that has been the boogeyman to the Buccos. Shota Imanaga was on the bump today for the Cubbies. Last year, Imanaga combined with the Cubs bullpen for a no-hitter, and he, for some reason, still to this very day, has a number on the Bucks that I just cannot explain. The Bucks did throw out a right-handed heavy lineup today against Imanaga. There was no Spencer Horwitz, no Brandon Lau. Nick York, who has had a nice little start to the season, he led off, followed by the lefty Ryan O'Hearn, who hits lefties well, odd enough. Brian Reynolds. Marcelo Ozuna did not play the final 2 games of the Padres series. He was back in there at DH and batting cleanup. Nick Gonzalez, O'Neal Cruz from leadoff to the 6th hole in today's lineup, just because of the lefty, I assume. Connor Griffin, Joey Bart, and Billy Cook with Carmen Mlodzinski on the mound. And if you look at that pitching matchup, Mlodzinski versus Imanaga, or I should say here for the sake of this metaphor, Imanaga versus Mlodzinski, you have an unstoppable force going against the Pirates versus a very, at least second time through the batting order, movable object on the bump for the Bucks. It was a very mismatch of starting pitching there, but I'll be damned, and I will be the first here to give my nice golf clap to Carmen Mlodzinski. He opened up a ton of eyes today, and he really elevated to the moment and pitched on par, or not on par, but pitched pretty damn good to keep the game where it was the way Imanaga was pitching today. Did Mlodzinski get himself in trouble? Yes, but did he work out of those jams every single time? Also, yes. Ended up going 5 1/3 innings pitched, 6 hits against, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, but like I said, was able to roll a couple of double plays. The defense behind him was pretty solid. Connor Griffin, to name one of them, had a real big day with the glove out on the field, and thankfully that was just enough for the Bucks to hold on to the win today, because the way that Mlodzinski entered into those jams and the way that Shota Imanaga for the Cubs was pitching, Imanaga, another hitless performance against the Pirates. 6 full innings, no earned runs, 9 strikeouts, and just 1 walk on 100 pitches on the dot for Imanaga. The Pirates, they would be really, really happy not to see him for the rest of the season, even though that is going to be tough as hell to do. Imanonga held the Bucks scoreless. Majinski did the same to the Cubbies. And then as soon as Imanonga was taken out of the game here today, that is when the Bucks, like a phoenix from the ashes, reborn. Ryan O'Hearn. What's the old saying? A bloop and a blast? Ryan O'Hearn, a bloop double down the right field line to be the first batter of the game to get a hit. And then Brian Reynolds, batting right-handed. Kaboom, 385-foot home run, 106 off the bat. He hits a no-doubter to put the Bucks on top 2-0. Gets a rise out of the dads. This is an early season dad trip for the Buccos. And that wound up being all she wrote. The Bucks bullpen, shout out them. Kind of a little bit like Majinski. They got into their fair share of troubles, but were able to work their way out of it. Mason Montgomery, Isaac Matson, Gregory Soto, Dennis Santana finished it off. The Buccos take down the Cubbies in game 1 of the series 2-0 and continues this vibe of this team just feeling a little bit different. I know you can say that a bunch with Donnie Kelly being a first full year manager with the players, the new cast of characters that are built around the players, some of whom were here last year. But these are games, that the Bucks would have lost 10 times out of 10 last year, where Imanonga is dealing and the Bucks bats could have gone, just so long before they ended up giving up a run. Thankfully, it was the Pirates at the end of all this that were the ones able to get those 2 huge runs across. And now the Bucks stay red hot to start the season. 8-5 to begin the year. They come off a homestand where they went 4-2, begin this weekend series with a division rival in the Cubs, 1-0. And now, just in my book, you're 1 win away from a series win against another division rival. They took 2 of 3 from the Reds. You take 2 of 3 from the Cubs before. I think they're, a sleeping giant that could wind up waking up as the season goes along. Wins in division. Very critical this time of year. I'm glad that the Pirates are able to scratch and claw their way to these wins before, they find themselves in the gutter here. 6 of you still in here. Going to get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news now that we're done talking about that Bucco talk. There's not too much extra Pittsburgh sports news tonight, or at least I do not remember. Want to get back into some hockey here for a second. We started the show with this. We got a few extra Penguins news here, news stories here today. This is pretty interesting. The Penguins signed an NCAA free agent college hockey player. Bad news, not the guy that I wanted, but hey, I am open-minded to this. Of course, I'm talking about Will Horkoff. I wanted him to, be on the Pens for this playoff stretch run. I don't think that is going to happen. Instead, the Penguins today, they signed defenseman from the North Dakota hockey team, Jake. I'm going to try to pronounce this last name, Levanovage. Not sure how you pronounce that. Jake Levanovage signs a 2-year rookie entry-level contract, comes out to $975K per year. Levanovage here, he 21 years old, left shot defenseman for North Dakota, 5'10", scored 5 goals and 20 assists for 25 points in 39 games this past season. A good signing for the Penguins. Thought this might be, a guy, we stash him away for next off season where we, have him come to camp, give him a chance to make the team as a second or as a seventh defenseman or something like that. No, did not hear of this kid until today. He's going to get a real shot out of the gate. He is going to join and report directly to the Penguins with the first year of his 2-year contract beginning this season. So the Penguins burning off a year of it's usually a 3-year entry-level deal. They're going to burn a season off for this kid to play in maybe 3 games. I mean, I wouldn't see why else they would have him report to the hockey team unless, they thought he was going to play these 3 games and play maybe a little bit in the playoffs. So do not know who this kid is, but I am excited to find out who he is here. If you do put this kid in, I mean, who do you take out really here? He's a left shot, so you ideally would take out a left shot defenseman. I mean, Parker Wotherspoon, no. Ryan Shea, absolutely not. Sammy Girard. I mean, he has been, he did struggle for, the first month or 2 he's been with the team, but he and Chris Letang starting to develop some chemistry. Maybe put him with Letang, which, wow, what a, step up that would be for him. You go from playing college hockey to now being beside only one of the greatest Penguins defensemen and one of the greatest defensemen, period, in hockey of all time. That's pretty crazy. This kid is a Pittsburgh kid, though. Grew up playing hockey, grew up a Penguins fan, at least for the most part. There's a picture of this kid. I believe he might have been at never mind. Here, I was going to say there's what looks to be Sidney Crosby in the penalty box or on the bench. I thought it was the Flyers arena for a second, and I can see this kid wearing a black jersey with a little bit of orange around him. I'm like, that better not be Flyers stuff. But yeah, we'll see here what this kid has. I think we're going to get a chance to find out here. Remember the name, Jake Levanovage. I'm probably butchering that. Going to need some phonetic pronunciation on that here soon enough. On to the other guy who I want the Pens to bring in for the playoffs, Will Horkoff. He and Michigan eliminated from the Frozen Four. They were taken out in the semifinals. The season for the Penguins' first-round pick ends with him scoring 38 points in 39 games. To begin the season, he looked like he was going to cruise to like 50 points. Ended up cooling off as the season went along. But we'll see. Doubt the Pens sign him, but guy who maybe can go to camp next year and Pens can see what he's got. I wouldn't mind that. Keep your eye on Will Horkoff. Speaking of keeping your eye on guys who are going to be a part of the future, Sergei Miroshov did not get a chance with the Pens. Of course, Stuart Skinner was good enough to go with his eye. Artur Shilovs remained the backup. That meant Miroshov not getting his shot in the crease before the playoffs. Maybe he will get a couple of looks here, or at least one, seeing how the Pens will be sitting guys here, maybe even as soon as this Saturday for playoffs. We'll have to wait and see. More waiting than seeing with Sergei Miroshov. And the last thing here related to the Penguins here, it's actually a Penguins alumnus. The Seattle Kraken yesterday, they announced that Ron Francis will be stepping down as their president of hockey operations. It is purely a personal decision for Ron Francis to step down and not, him getting fired or let go of anything. So wonder what that's all about. Ron Francis built that Kraken team into mostly what they are today. So we'll see if Ronnie Francis winds back or pops back up anywhere in the near future. Back into football here. Some interesting debates going online right now about who's going to be here and who is not come this time next year in the Steelers' edge rusher room. We all know that Nick Herbig is entering into the final year of his rookie contract. He is going to be due for a big payday that is going to be highly lucrative given his production on the field. Some Steelers insiders have said that this is going to be Herbig's final year. Others have said that Herbig could be getting a franchise tag that will pay him $25 to $30 million. And others, more specifically here, Jerry Dulac. We just mentioned him earlier in the show. He says, or hinted, that Nick Herbig will not be getting dealt and he will be getting paid. And that if there is anybody in this edge rusher room that is going to be out of Pittsburgh next year, it could be one of the two veteran guys, TJ Watt or Alex Highsmith. Dulac said, I think the trade would involve someone ahead of him when asked about a potential edge rusher getting traded, and Herbig was mentioned specifically. Now, we all know what Nick Herbig can do and that he's going to get paid. And TJ Watt, not getting any younger, just had a big contract extension and did not live up to that all that much last year. Alex Highsmith, I mean, a good player. Don't think necessarily to be confused with great. He's still chasing that high of the season that earned him his current extension he's on right now. So, I mean, highly unlikely that Watt or Highsmith get dealt. But it makes you wonder if the Steelers are going to try to finagle Nick Herbig in with a deal and keep three edge rushers, or I don't want to put a trade possibility at all at zero. I put it a trade possibility at like 5%, but I just said a few moments ago, regards to the draft, ideally you would want the Steelers to get a wide receiver and a good offensive lineman high in this draft. Maybe you can get both in the first round if you want to trade back in. Could a trade back into the first round feature a TJ Watt or an Alex Highsmith? Can either one of those guys, or at the very least Watt, fetch a first round pick? I mean, I'm not sure if I would want to pull the trigger on a deal like that, but it makes you think. It does make you pause and think. So as we move along, through this preseason, through the regular season itself, is there going to be a world where Nick Herbig stays, or is something going to come up that the Steelers end up making a change at that position? We're going to be eager to find out, I'm sure. Moving from one position, edge rusher, to another, running back, Jaylen Warren on Good Morning Football this morning. Didn't really, say too much. Said he loves Mike McCarthy and the energy that he brings. Loves the way that Rico Dowdle runs. He's excited to play alongside him. Of course, Warren and Dowdle, both two of the various success stories of undrafted free agents in the NFL. This right here I love, though. Jaylen Warren on GMFB on Aaron Rodgers. I'm not really expecting anything. Whatever happens, happens. I'm rocking with who's ever at quarterback. But if he comes back, great. If he doesn't, then we'll miss him. Pretty much Jaylen Warren speaking for everybody here. Not really expecting anything anymore. If he comes back, cool. If he doesn't, cool. Yay, we get to see what Mason Rudolph and Will Howard and company have here. But I think Warren, just like the rest of us, he's over it. He's sick and tired. Just, can we get this thing moving here? Come on. Enough's enough here. Got 13 days till the draft. Let's, or get off the pot here, Rodgers. Last thing here, or last two things here regarding the Steelers. Apparently, NFL and their negotiations with the NFL Referees Association is starting to progress. Several NFL owners joined the negotiating team yesterday, per an NFL source. This from Kevin Seifert. Per an NFL source, the meeting was productive, and there is an expectation for continued discussions. The CBA between the Referees Association and the NFL expires at the end of May. One I think person called the situation dire, and both sides are trying to work towards an agreement. Last thing Steeler-wise, happy birthday to Mel Blount, Steelers' legendary defensive back. Saw a video of Mel Blount online today, and my goodness, you want to talk about still looking like we can put him out there on the field, and he can line up on the other side of the field from Joey Porter Jr. and JPJ, and Mel Blount can lock down T. Higgins and Jamar Chase all day. I'll take that bet. Mel Blount still looking like $1 million. Wrapping up here with baseball talk, ladies and gentlemen. Just some extra baseball stuff here. The Pirates yesterday did indeed finally release their City Connect uniforms, their new ones this year. We got the old ones, those bright yellow ones that said PGH and black lettering across the front. These ones, though, they might take the cake as one of the best City Connect jerseys, not just this year in this year's cycle, but ever since the MLB a few years ago started this whole City Connect project or whatever, having teams make cool jerseys and wear them and all that. This one for the Pirates, it might be one of the best across all the MLB teams. Look at it. It is absolutely sick. The black jersey right there with a little bit of the red in it. I love it when the Bucks get a little bit of that red in their uniform. The black here and this sort of mustard color yellow, I think, fits the Bucks really well. And I like the font, too, of the lettering. They had AJ Burnett do the hype up video for these jerseys. And these are sort of, you look at the title for a Batman movie, it's sort of the font that it is. So, yeah, that's really cool. Cool hat as well. Pirate bucko, or the pirate face logo. Looks sick, like always. Excited to see here moving forward how much of those jerseys get sold. They'll be worn on Friday home games, or at least most of them, for the rest of the season. Last two things here for the Pirates, both small, almost insignificant. Manuel Valdez DFA'd to make room for Connor Griffin to get called up last week. Valdez did clear waivers and was outrighted to AAA Indianapolis, so he still is with the Pirates organization, just not on their 40-man roster. And speaking of Connor Griffin, we learned of the numbers he did on Sportsnet Pittsburgh and SMP 360, how many people tuned in to see his debut. MLB Network, their out-of-market telecast of Connor Griffin's debut, it averaged 260,000 viewers. That is just above Paul Skeens' debut from 2024. And through Sunday, MLB Network out-of-market live games are up 46%. I'm sure Connor Griffin, being with the Bucks, people want to continue night after night tuning in to see how that kid does. Connor Griffin already making some headlines here for the Buccos. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much going to wrap things up here tonight. Taking one last stroll here through Twitter to see if we have any last minute stories to talk about before we head off into the weekend. Colin Beasley here covers the Bucks for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, said that the Pirates' dads, they are all in the clubhouse after the team win, and the dads drinking beers. Tells you this team is having themselves a good old time right now, and that team camaraderie has never been at an all-time high for the Bucks. Penguins and Bucks both playing back-to-back games this weekend. The Bucks Saturday and Sunday, both 2:20 start times, will wrap up their series with the Cubbies, and also the Penguins, even though they have clinched playoffs and home ice advantage. It will be a good battle this weekend. They take on the Washington Capitals in a home-and-home series, and the Caps, Sid, Ovi, the Caps still fighting for their playoff lives. I think their chances are very slim to none, but enjoy these two Capitals Penguins games this weekend. Could be the last time we see Sid versus Ovi, because Ovechkin contemplating retirement. Going to talk about it with his family in the offseason. Looking here if there's any other last minute news stories. This Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel stuff, it is crazy. Haven't talked about that the past few days. Just Yikes. Not going to get any more into it beyond that. Looking right now, BetMGM just put out a list of the top 10 pitchers in Major League Baseball right now. You'll never guess who number 1 is. He's a big 6'6" dude with a nice beard. Got a little bit of a mullet to him. Throws gas. Dates Livy Dunn. Not sure if you ever heard about him. Think that is going to wrap it up here, ladies and gentlemen. Not seeing anything else. So with that, we are going to head off into the weekend. And this was a fun week here on the Steel City Sports Report. Got to do our first mock draft ahead of the NFL draft, the real thing, coming up here in a little under 2 weeks. Pittsburgh Penguins clinch the playoffs. The Buccos continue to be chugging along real well to begin the season. The Steelers bringing in more pre-draft visitors by the day. It is going to be a hell of a time moving forward here on the Steel City Sports Report, and I hope you guys all join along with me here on this on this journey between now and the next 2 weeks, as it is going to be jam-packed here on the channel. With that, gonna wrap up here, and we'll all reconvene here on Monday unless something truly massive goes down. Monday we'll have more Penguins and Pirates games to talk about, and we'll do another mock draft Monday. More details on that will be revealed when we come back here to begin the new week. That'll do it. On your way out, please hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing here on the channel. Again, like this live stream, share this live stream in the comments section. If you have any thoughts, questions, or opinions after the fact, leave those there. Go check out the channel at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And tune back in later tonight for a new edition of SCSR 60. Shout out Flacco. One last comment. Great stream. Like and subscribe. The Berg is in a good spot overall. Vibes are high. Arrow is pointed up in all facets of Pittsburgh sports. And we'll have more to talk about that on Monday. Thank you all. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the Steelers news. That's going to be fast and furious. Let's go Bucks. Let's go Pens. Peace.